The Mercy's light floated in the dark space between two warring fleets. The massive hospital ship was painted white with red crosses that could be seen from thousands of miles away. Every species in the galaxy knew what those symbols meant. They meant safety. They meant healing. They meant no weapons would fire at this ship. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge and watched the stars. She had commanded this ship for 8 years. In all that time, no one had ever attacked a hospital ship. The rules were simple and clear. Medical ships were safe. Everyone agreed on this. Even the worst enemies would let hospital ships pass. Dr. Vasquez, called her assistant. We have another transport coming in. Wounded soldiers from the Outer Rim battle. Elena nodded. How many? 200 this time. Mix of species. Some are hurt badly. Elena walked through the halls of her ship. The Mercy's light was huge. It had 50 floors and could hold 15,000 people. Right now, it was almost full. Soldiers from both sides of the war lay in beds next to each other. Human doctors treated alien patients. Alien doctors treated human patients. War meant nothing here. Dr. Marcus Chen was in surgery when Elena found him. Through the window, she watched him work. His hands moved fast and sure as he fixed the torn chest of a young soldier. The soldier was from the Hegemony Coalition, the same people who had killed Chen's family 3 years ago, but Chen worked to save him anyway. Elena remembered when Chen first came to her ship. He had been different then, angry, broken. He told her he used to make weapons, big ones, weapons that could destroy entire cities. But after his wife and daughter died in a bombing, he threw it all away. He said he never wanted to hurt anyone again. I want to heal now, he had told her. I want to save lives instead of taking them. Chen was the best doctor on her ship, maybe the best doctor in the galaxy. His brain worked in ways that amazed everyone. He could see problems that other doctors missed. He could fix things that seemed impossible to fix. But he was also quiet and sad. He worked all day and all night, as if keeping busy would make the pain go away. The surgery room door opened. Chen came out, pulling off his gloves. How is he? Elena asked. He will live, Chen said. His voice was tired. But he will never fight again. The damage was too much. Maybe that is a good thing, Elena said softly. Chen looked at her. Maybe. They walked together to the main medical bay. Thousands of beds filled the huge room. Nurses moved between the patients. Most were humans, but there were also Centaurians with their blue skin, and Vegaborn with their tall, thin bodies, and even a few of the cat-like Felinians. Dr. Chen, called a nurse. We need you in pediatrics. The Marlowe children are asking. For you. Elena watched Chen's face change. The pediatric ward was his favorite place. 3 months ago, they had rescued a family from a destroyed transport. The parents had died, but their 2 children lived. Chen had saved them both. Now they followed him around like he was their father. I will be right there, Chen said. Elena continued her rounds alone. The Mercy's light was more than a hospital ship. It was home to thousands of refugees, people who had lost everything in the war, families torn apart, children without parents, old people with nowhere to go. In the refugee section, Elena found Mrs. Patterson teaching a class. The old human woman had lost her home when the Kitharans attacked her planet. But instead of being bitter, she had started a school for the refugee children. Good morning, Doctor, Mrs. Patterson said with a smile. We are learning about the different species today. 20 small faces looked up at Elena. Human children sat next to alien children. They all wore the same simple clothes that the ship provided. They all had the same look in their eyes. The look of children who had seen too much. Tell me, Mrs. Patterson said to a small blue boy, what makes each species special? The boy thought hard. Humans are good at fixing things. Centaurians are strong. Vegans are fast, and everyone can be friends if they try. Elena smiled. That is very smart. She left the classroom and went to the communications room. Her officer was listening to reports from across the galaxy. Any news? Elena asked. The war is getting worse, the officer said. The Kitharans are pushing into Outer Rim space. They have taken 6 more systems. Elena frowned. The Kitharan Empire was known for being cruel. They believed that strong people should rule over weak people. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who got in their way. But even they respected the hospital ships. What about the peace talks? Nothing new. The Galactic Council is still trying, but no one wants to listen. Elena sighed. The war had been going on for 2 years now. Millions had died. Entire planets had been destroyed. And for what? She could never understand why people chose to fight instead of working together. She was about to leave when the officer grabbed her arm. "Wait, I am getting something strange." The officer pressed buttons on his control board. Static filled the air. Then a voice came through. "This is Captain Zek of the Kitharan Warfleet. We do not recognize your medical neutrality. Prepare to be boarded." Elena felt her blood turn cold. "That cannot be right. Check the signal." The officer worked fast. "It is real, Doctor. There are 12 Kitharan warships heading right for us." "Contact them," Elena ordered. "Remind them who we are," the officer tried. "Kitharan Fleet, this is the hospital ship Mercy's Light. We are protected under galactic medical accords. We have wounded from all sides aboard. Please acknowledge." The reply came back cold and hard. "We acknowledge nothing. You treat our enemies. That makes you our enemy." Elena could not believe what she was hearing. In all the years of galactic civilization, no one had ever attacked a hospital ship. It was the one rule everyone followed. The one thing that kept some hope alive in the universe. "Get me the ship-wide communication system," she ordered. Her voice echoed through every hall and room of the Mercy's Light. "All staff and patients, this is Dr. Vasquez. We have an emergency. Hostile ships are approaching. This has never happened before. But we must prepare. All medical staff to emergency stations. All patients who can move should go to the protected areas on decks 20 through 30. Elena ran to find Chen. She found him in pediatrics, holding the Marlowe children. The little girl was crying. "Is it true?" Chen asked. "Are they really going to attack us?" "It looks that way," Elena said. "I need you to get the children to safety." Chen's face went hard. Elena had seen that look before. It was the same look he had when he first came to her ship. The look of a man who had lost everything. "Chen," she said carefully, "remember what you told me. You are a healer now." Chen picked up both children. "I remember," he said, but his voice sounded different. Colder. The first explosion shook the entire ship. Emergency lights started flashing. Alarms screamed through the halls. Elena ran to the bridge. Through the windows, she could see the Kitharan ships. They were firing on the Mercy's Light, actually firing on a hospital ship. "Shields at 60%, reported her officer. "But we were not built for this. Our shields are only meant to stop space debris." Another explosion. This one was bigger. The ship shook so hard that Elena fell down. "They are targeting our medical bays," the officer said in shock. "They are trying to kill the patients." Elena closed her eyes. In a few minutes, everything she had worked for would be gone. All the lives they had saved. All the hope they had given people. The Kitharans were destroying it all. And somewhere in the ship, Dr. Marcus Chen was watching too. The man who had once built weapons that could destroy cities was seeing innocent children die again. The explosions did not stop. Chen carried the 2 children through smoke-filled hallways. The little girl held tight to his neck. The boy tried to be brave, but Chen could feel him shaking. "Where are we going?" the girl asked. "Somewhere safe," Chen said. But he was not sure anywhere was safe now. The ship's lights kept going on and off. Each time the Kitharan weapons hit, the Mercy's Light shook like it was falling apart. Chen could hear people screaming. He could smell fire and burning metal. He reached the protected area on deck 25. Hundreds of people were already there, patients in wheelchairs, nurses helping wounded soldiers, families holding each other tight. Chen found Mrs. Patterson. She was trying to calm the other children. "Take care of them," he told her, putting down the 2 children. "Where are you going?" Mrs. Patterson asked. Chen did not answer. He was already walking away. He went up to the medical decks. What he saw there made him stop breathing. The pediatric ward was gone, just a big hole where it used to be. The beds where sick children had been sleeping were now floating in space. Chen ran to the main medical bay. It was even worse. Half the room was destroyed. Bodies were everywhere. Doctors and nurses who had spent their lives saving people were now dead. Patients who had come here for help were killed in their beds. Dr. Martinez was still alive, but barely. Chen found her under a piece of broken ceiling. Blood covered her face. "Chen," she whispered. "Help the others first." "You are hurt bad," Chen said. He tried to stop her bleeding. "Listen to me," Martinez said, grabbing his shirt. "They did not just attack us. They targeted the medical bays first. This was planned. They wanted to kill." Patience. Chen felt something cold and hard grow inside his chest. The Kitherans had not attacked the Mercy's Light by accident. They had planned this. They wanted to kill helpless, wounded people just to send a message. Dr. Martinez died in his arms. Chen worked for hours. He saved everyone he could. But too many were already gone. In the children's ward, he found the bodies of kids he had treated. Kids who had trusted him to keep them safe. The little blue boy who had been learning about different species was dead. The young Centaurian girl who always made jokes to make other patients laugh was dead. 12 children in total, murdered in their beds. Chen sat in the destroyed medical bay and stared at his hands. These hands had once built weapons that could kill millions of people. Then he had changed them, made them into healing hands, hands that saved lives instead of taking them. But what good were healing hands when monsters like the Kitherans could kill children whenever they wanted? "Dr. Chen?" Chen looked up. It was Aria, the ship's medical computer. Her hologram appeared next to him. Aria looked like a young woman with kind eyes. She had been built to help doctors save lives. "I have been monitoring your vital signs," Aria said. "Your stress levels are very high. You should rest." "I cannot rest," Chen said. "Too many people need help." "That is not what I mean," Aria said. She sat down next to him, even though she was just light, and did not really need to sit. "I have been watching you for 3 years. You came here to heal because you wanted to forget what you used to do. But forgetting and healing are not the same thing." Chen looked at her. "What do you mean?" "You have tried to lock away the part of yourself that understands weapons and war. But maybe that part of you could help now. I do not want to hurt people anymore. Even people who hurt children?" Chen was quiet for a long time. Around him, other doctors worked to save the survivors. But Chen could not stop thinking about the dead children, about Dr. Martinez, about all the innocent people who had died just because the Kitherans wanted to prove how strong they were. "Aria," he said finally, "can you show me the attack data?" "Are you sure?" "Show me." Aria's hologram changed. Now it showed a recording of the attack. Chen watched the Kitharan ships move into position. He saw how they targeted the medical bays first, then the refugee areas. They had planned this to kill as many helpless people as possible. "They knew exactly where to hit," Chen said. "Someone gave them our ship plans." "Yes," Aria said. "I have been analyzing their attack pattern. This was not random. They studied our ship for weeks, maybe months." Chen felt the cold hardness in his chest grow bigger. The Kitherans had not just broken the most important rule in the galaxy. They had planned it. They had worked hard to figure out how to kill the most innocent people. "Aria, I need to see our manufacturing systems." "Dr. Chen, those systems are restricted. They are not for medical use. I am not going to make medical supplies." Aria was quiet. She studied Chen's face with her computer mind. "What are you planning?" "I am planning to make sure this never happens again. By building weapons, by building justice." Aria's hologram flickered. For a computer, she looked worried. "Dr. Chen, I am programmed to preserve life. I cannot help you build things that kill people. What if I told you I was not going to kill anyone?" "Then what would you do?" Chen stood up. For the first time in 3 years, he felt like himself again. Not the broken man who had come to this ship, not the sad doctor who tried to heal the world. He felt like Dr. Marcus Chen, the man who understood how things worked, how systems could be built, how problems could be solved. "I am going to fix them," he said. Aria processed this for several seconds. "Fix them how?" "The Kitherans think they are strong because they like to fight. They think they are better than everyone else because they can hurt people. But what if they could not hurt people anymore? What if their own bodies would not let them? Arya's eyes went wide. You want to change them biologically? Why not? We have the best medical technology in the galaxy on this ship. Nanobots that can fix anything. Gene therapy systems that can cure any disease. Computer systems that can model any biological process. But using medical technology as a weapon? Is it a weapon if it makes them better people? Arya was quiet for a long time. Her computer brain was trying to figure out if what Chen wanted to do was right or wrong. Finally, she spoke. The Kitharans attacked a hospital ship. They killed children who were already hurt and scared. They broke the most sacred law in galactic civilization. Yes. And you want to make sure they can never do it again. Yes. By changing their biology, so they cannot feel the need to hurt others. That is right. Arya looked around the destroyed medical bay, at the bodies of doctors and patients, at the hole where the children's ward used to be. I will help you, she said. Chen smiled for the first time since the attack. But it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had found his purpose again. Good. First, I need you to collect samples of Kitharan DNA from the weapon fragments. Their ships leaked biological matter when they fired on us. I can do that. Then I need access to the nanobotic fabrication systems, and the genetic modeling, computers, and the quantum biology lab. Dr. Chen, what you are talking about would take years of research. Not if we use their own aggression against them. Not if we make something that learns and grows and gets better each time it encounters. Kitharan biology. Arya processed this. You want to make something that evolves. I want to make something that teaches. Chen walked to the window and looked out at space. The Kitharan ships were gone now. They had done their damage and left. But somewhere out there, they were probably laughing about what they had done. Proud of themselves for killing children. They think this is over, Chen said quietly. They think they won. Did they not? Chen turned back to Arya. His eyes were hard and cold, but also very, very smart. They have no idea what they just started. 3 months passed. The galaxy was still angry about the attack on the Mercy's light. Every news channel talked about it. Every government said it was wrong, but they only gave the Kitharans economic punishments. No real fighting, no real consequences. The Kitharan Empire laughed at the weak response. They attacked more civilian ships. They destroyed refugee camps. They seemed to enjoy showing everyone that nothing was truly safe from them. But they did not know about Dr. Marcus. Chen worked every night in the lower decks of the Mercy's Light. During the day, he was still a doctor. He treated patients. He saved lives. No one suspected that after his medical shifts, he went down to the restricted manufacturing levels. Arya helped him. She had decided that what they were doing was not really making a weapon. They were making medicine. Very special medicine that would cure the Kitharans of their need to hurt others. Show me the latest models, Chen said as he entered the secret laboratory. Arya's hologram appeared. The nanobots are working better than expected. They can now identify Kitharan DNA with 99% accuracy. Chen looked at the computer screens. Complex molecular diagrams filled them. To most people, they would look like random shapes and numbers. But Chen could read them like a simple book. What about the learning system? Even better. Each time the nanobots encounter Kitharan biology, they get smarter. They learn new ways to modify the neural pathways that control aggression. Chen smiled. The nanobots were tiny machines, smaller than human cells. But they were also incredibly smart. They could enter a Kitharan's body and travel to the brain. There, they would make very small changes. Changes that would make it impossible for Kitharans to feel the urge to hurt others. They will not die? Chen asked. No. They will live completely normal lives. They just will not want to fight anymore. They will not be able to enjoy causing pain. The very idea of hurting someone will make them feel sick. Good. What about the delivery system? Arya showed him another screen. We can put the nanobots into medical supplies, bandages, medicine, food supplements. The nanobots can survive for months without power. Chen nodded. This was the brilliant part of his plan. He would not shoot missiles at the Kitharans. He would not send armies to fight them. Instead, he would send them medical aid. The Kitharans were so arrogant that they barely scanned humanitarian shipments. Why would they worry about medical supplies? What could bandages and medicine do to hurt their mighty empire? They would find out soon enough. Dr. Chen, Arya said carefully, I have been thinking about the ethical implications of what we are doing. Chen looked up from his work. You are having doubts? Not doubts, questions. We are changing an entire species without their permission. Some people would call that wrong. Some people would call attacking a hospital ship wrong too. Yes, but does that make this right? Chen was quiet for a moment. He had asked himself the same question many times. Arya, let me ask you something. If you could stop someone from wanting to hurt children, would you do it? Of course. Even if they did not ask you to? Arya processed this. If someone wanted to hurt children, then yes, I think stopping them would be the right thing to do. What if an entire species wanted to hurt children? Arya was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, I see your point. The Kitharans chose to attack helpless people. They chose to kill children in hospital beds. They made their choice. Now I am making mine. Chen went back to his work. He was modifying the nanobot's programming. Each bot was like a tiny doctor that could perform surgery on a single brain cell. But unlike regular surgery, this would not hurt. The Kitharans would not even know it was happening. How long until the nanobots are ready for deployment? Chen asked. 2 more weeks. But Dr. Chen, there is something else we need to discuss. What? The delivery method. How are we going to get medical supplies to Kitharan worlds? They are not exactly friendly with the rest of the galaxy right now. Chen had already thought of this. We are going to create a plague. Arya's hologram flickered. A plague! Not a real one, a fake one. We will send out reports that there is a new disease spreading through this sector of space, something that affects multiple species. Then we will offer to help with medical supplies. The Kitharans will not accept help from humans. No. But they will accept help from the Galactic Health Organization, especially if they think the disease might spread to their worlds. Chen showed Arya his plan on the computer. It was complex but brilliant. First, they would create false medical reports about a new plague. Then they would have the GHO send medical aid to all worlds in the area, including Kitharan worlds. The supplies would contain the nanobots. This will take months to spread through their entire empire, Arya said. That is fine. We have time. And the beauty of the nanobots is that they will spread naturally. Each infected Kitharan will become a carrier. When they touch other Kitharans, the nanobots will transfer. Like a virus. Exactly like a virus. But instead of making them sick, it will make them healthy. Healthy in their minds. Arya studied the plan. Dr. Chen, you realize what this means? You are not just changing the Kitharans who attacked us. You are changing their entire species. Forever. Yes. Their children will be different. Their children's children will be different. You are changing the course of their entire evolutionary path. Chen looked up from his work. His eyes were hard but not angry. They were the eyes of a man who had made peace with a difficult decision. Good, he said. Maybe their children will be better than they are. Maybe their children will not want to kill other people's children. He went back to work. The nanobots were almost ready. Soon, he would begin the process of sending them out into the galaxy. The Kitharans had no idea that their empire was about to change forever. But there was one more thing Chen needed to do first. Arya, I need you to create a message. Something that will be delivered to every Kitharan leader exactly 1 year from today. What should the message say? Chen thought carefully. This message would be important. It would be the first time the Kitharans understood what had happened to them. Tell them this. You attacked a hospital ship. You killed children who were under our protection. You broke the most sacred law of civilized society. So we have given you a gift. We have made it impossible for you to enjoy hurting others ever again. Your empire was built on cruelty. Now it will have to find a new way to exist. Consider this our way of helping you become better people. Should we sign it? Chen smiled. Sign it, the medical staff of the Mercy's Light. P.S. Next time you think about attacking a hospital ship, remember what happened to you. Arya processed the message. Dr. Chen, this message will let them know that humans did this to them. I know. They will be very angry. They will try to be angry, but they will not be able to stay angry. That is the whole point. Chen looked around the secret laboratory. For 3 months, he had worked here every night, building something that had never been built before, creating a weapon that did not kill but healed, a weapon that would make the Kitharans into the kind of people they should have been all along. Tomorrow, he would begin the final phase of his plan. Soon, medical supplies would start arriving on Kitharan worlds. Supplies that looked normal, but carried something that would change everything. The Kitharans thought they had won when they destroyed the Mercy's light. They thought they had proved how strong they were, but Dr. Marcus Chen knew something they did not know. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is take away someone's desire to be cruel, and he was about to prove it to the entire galaxy. The false plague reports began appearing 6 months after the attack on the Mercy's light. News channels across the galaxy reported a strange new disease in the Outer Rim territories. It seemed to affect multiple species and was spreading fast. Dr. Elena Vasquez did not know about Chen's plan. She only knew that her head of emergency medicine had been working very hard lately. He seemed focused on something, but she thought it was just his way of dealing with the trauma of the attack. "Chen," she said one morning, "you look tired. Did you last sleep?" "I sleep enough," Chen replied. He was reading medical reports on his computer tablet, reports that he had written himself under fake names. "What are you reading?" "News about this plague outbreak. It is very concerning." Elena looked over his shoulder. The reports described a disease that caused fatigue and confusion but was not deadly. It seemed to spread through contact and could remain dormant for months before showing symptoms. "Should we be worried?" Elena asked. "The Galactic Health Organization is sending medical aid to all affected systems," Chen said. "Better to be safe." What Elena did not know was that Chen had spent weeks creating false evidence of this plague. He had hacked into medical databases and planted reports. He had created fake patient files and false lab results. To anyone who looked, it would seem like a real disease was spreading through space. The Galactic Health Organization was quick to respond. They sent teams to investigate the outbreak. These teams found exactly what Chen wanted them to find, evidence that the plague was real and spreading fast. "We need to act quickly," announced Dr. Reginald Hoffman, the head of the GHO. "This disease could reach populated systems within months. We are preparing medical aid packages for all worlds in the affected sectors." Among those worlds were 12 Kitharan colonies. Chen watched the news reports with satisfaction. Everything was going according to plan. The medical aid packages were already being prepared on a secret facility that Arya had helped him access. Each package contained normal medical supplies, bandages, antibiotics, pain relievers. But every item also contained billions of nanobots. The nanobots looked exactly like normal medical nanobots. Even if the Kitharans scanned them, they would see nothing unusual. The modifications Chen had made were too small to detect with standard equipment. "The first shipments will go out tomorrow," Arya told him during one of their secret meetings. "Are you sure the nanobots will work?" "I have run thousands of simulations. They will integrate into Kitharan biology within 48 hours of contact. The changes to their neural pathways will begin immediately." Chen felt a moment of doubt. What he was about to do would change an entire species forever. But then he remembered the dead children in the hospital ship. He remembered Dr. Martinez dying in his arms. He remembered the look of pride on the Kitharan captain's face as he ordered the attack on helpless patients. "Send them out," he said. The medical aid shipments launched from hidden facilities across human space. To the galaxy, it looked like the GHO was responding to a health crisis. Ships filled with medical supplies headed toward dozens of worlds, including Kitharan territories. The Kitharan Empire was suspicious at first. Why would humans want to help them? But their own doctors were worried about the plague reports. If this disease could really affect multiple species, it might threaten Kitharans too. "We should examine these supplies carefully," advised General Korak, one of their military leaders. "Of course," replied High Commander Zeth. "Scan everything, test everything. But if these humans are stupid enough to send us free medical supplies, we might as well take them." The Kitharans scanned the shipments with their best equipment. They found exactly what they expected to find. Medical supplies with standard medical nanobots. Nothing dangerous, nothing suspicious. They distributed the supplies to hospitals and medical centers across their 12 colony worlds. Dr. Vex was a Kitharan physician on the colony world of Craxus Prime. He had always been proud of his species' strength. Kitharans were warriors. They took what they wanted. They showed no mercy to weakness, but Dr. Vex was also a doctor. When the medical supplies arrived, he was happy to have them. His hospital had been running low on bandages and medicine. He used the new supplies on his patients without a second thought. The bandages worked perfectly. The medicines seemed effective. Everything appeared normal. Dr. Vex did not know that billions of nanobots were now in his system. They had entered through his skin when he handled the supplies. Now they were traveling through his bloodstream, making their way to his brain. The nanobots were incredibly sophisticated. They could identify specific neural pathways, the ones that controlled aggressive behavior and the enjoyment of others' pain. Once they found these pathways, they began making tiny modifications. They did not damage anything. They did not cause pain. They simply made it impossible for the pathways to function the way they used to. Dr. Vex felt nothing as this happened. The changes were too small to notice. But over the next few days, he began to feel different in ways he could not explain. Week after handling the medical supplies, Dr. Vex was treating a patient who had been injured in a mining accident. Normally, he would have felt nothing for the patient's pain. Kitharans believed that weakness deserved no sympathy. But as he looked at the injured miner, Dr. Vex felt something strange. He felt sorry for the man. He wanted to help not just because it was his job, but because he genuinely cared about reducing the patient's suffering. This feeling confused him. Kitharans were not supposed to feel empathy for weakness. Similar changes were happening all across the 12 colony worlds. Kitharan doctors were handling the medical supplies and becoming infected with the nanobots. Then they spread the nanobots to their patients through normal contact. The patients spread them to their families. The families spread them to their neighbors. Within a month, over 1 million Kitharans had been infected. The changes were subtle at first. Kitharan soldiers found themselves hesitating before using violence. Kitharan leaders felt uncomfortable when planning attacks on civilian targets. Kitharan citizens began questioning why their empire needed to hurt so many innocent people. But the nanobots were just getting started. They were designed to learn and improve. Each time they encountered a new Kitharan brain, they became better at making modifications. They began to spread faster and work more efficiently. High Commander Zeth was in his office on the Kitharan home world when he received the first disturbing reports. "Sir," said his aide, "we are getting strange reports from the colony worlds." "What kind of reports?" "Military commanders are refusing orders. They say they do not want to attack civilian targets anymore." Zeth frowned. "Refusing orders? Execute them for treason." "That is the problem, sir. The commanders who should execute them are saying they do not want to either." This was very strange. Kitharan military discipline was absolute. Soldiers who refused orders were always executed. Other soldiers always carried out the executions without question. What about the colonies that have not received the medical supplies yet? "Those colonies are operating normally, sir." Zeth felt a cold fear in his stomach. Could the medical supplies be causing this? It seemed impossible. They had scanned everything carefully. "Order all medical supplies from human sources to be destroyed immediately," he commanded. But it was too late. The nanobots were already spreading through the Kitharan Empire like a beneficial plague. They moved from person to person through simple contact. They carried no symptoms and caused no illness. They simply made Kitharans into better people. Dr. Vex was now treating patients with a gentleness that amazed everyone who saw him. When a young Kitharan soldier was brought in with battle injuries, Dr. Vex found himself fighting back tears. "Why are you sad?" the soldier asked. "I am just another wounded warrior." "No," Dr. Vex said quietly. "You are someone's child. Someone who loved you will be worried about you. How can I not be sad when I see you hurt?" The soldier stared at him. Kitharans did not talk about love or worry. They talked about strength and conquest. But as Dr. Vex treated his wounds with unusual care, the soldier began to feel something changing inside himself, too. The nanobots were spreading again. Across the galaxy, 1 year after the attack on the Mercy's Light, the Kitharan Empire officially surrendered. Not because they had been defeated in battle, but because they no longer wanted to fight. High Commander Zeth was the last Kitharan leader to be infected with the nanobots. He had hidden in his bunker for months, watching his empire transform around him. But eventually, even he had to come into contact with his own people. The nanobots found him. The change in Zeth was dramatic. One day, he was screaming orders to attack human colonies. The next day, he was asking his staff how they could help rebuild the worlds they had destroyed. "I do not understand what has happened to me," he told his aide. "I feel like I have been asleep for my entire life, and now I am finally awake." The aide, who had been infected months earlier, smiled. "You are becoming who you were always meant to be, Commander. But I was a warrior. I was strong. You are still strong. But now your strength comes from helping others instead of hurting them." Across the galaxy, people watched in amazement as the Kitharan Empire transformed itself. Planets that had been military bases became schools and hospitals. Weapons factories were converted to produce farming equipment and medical supplies. Kitharan soldiers put down their weapons and picked up tools to help rebuild the worlds they had damaged. But the galaxy's leaders were not just amazed, they were terrified. If humans could do this to the Kitharans, what could they do to anyone else? The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to discuss what they were calling the Kitharan transformation. "We need to understand exactly what happened," declared Council President Thane, a tall, blue-skinned Andromedan. "An entire species does not just change overnight. The investigation took months. Galactic scientists studied Kitharan biology and found the nanobots. They traced the nanobots back to the medical supplies. They traced the medical supplies back to human space, but they could not prove who had created the nanobots. The technology was too advanced and too well hidden." Finally, Dr. Elena Vasquez received a message asking her to appear before the Galactic Council. She brought Dr. Chen with her. The council chamber was huge and filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Elena had never seen so many different species in one place. They all looked worried and suspicious. "Dr. Vasquez," President Thane began, "your hospital ship received medical supplies from the same sources that sent aid to Kitharan worlds. Did you notice anything unusual about those supplies?" Elena looked at Chen. She still did not know about his secret work, but she was beginning to suspect something. "Our supplies worked perfectly," she said carefully. "We had no problems with them." "Dr. Chen," President Thane turned to him, "you are known to have exceptional knowledge of biological systems. In your opinion, could nanobots like the ones found in Kitharan systems be created using standard medical equipment?" Chen stood up slowly. Every eye in the chamber was on him. He could lie. He could deny everything. The evidence against him was not complete. But he chose to tell the truth. "Yes," he said. "They could be created by someone with the right knowledge and equipment. And do you have that knowledge and equipment?" Chen looked around the chamber. He saw fear in many faces. These representatives were afraid of what humans might do to them. "I have that knowledge," Chen said. "I used to design weapons before I became a doctor." The chamber erupted in whispers and concerned voices. President Thane called for order. "Dr. Chen, are you saying that you created the nanobots that transformed the Kitharan Empire?" Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke clearly so everyone could hear. "The Kitharans attacked a hospital ship. They killed children who were under our protection. They murdered doctors and nurses who had spent their lives saving people. They broke the most sacred law of civilized society." "That does not answer my question." "Yes," Chen said. "I created the nanobots. I sent them to Kitharan worlds. I transformed their entire species." The chamber fell completely silent. Then the questions began. "How dare you change an entire species without permission? What gives humans the right to alter other people's biology? This is a crime against nature." Chen listened to their anger and fear. Then he spoke again. "You are right to be afraid," he said. "You should be afraid, because now you know what humans are capable of when you hurt our innocent people." He walked to the center of the chamber so everyone could see him clearly. "For years you have seen humans as weak. We run hospitals instead of armies. We try to save lives instead of taking them. We offer help instead of demanding tribute. You thought this made us easy targets?" Chen's voice grew stronger. "The Kitharans thought the same thing. They thought they could attack a hospital ship and face no real consequences. They were wrong. You had no right. began a Centaurian representative. "We had every right," Chen interrupted. "We had the right of those who protect the innocent. We had the right of those who heal the sick. We had the right of those who follow the rules of civilized society." He looked around the chamber again. The Kitharans chose to break those rules. They chose to target the helpless. They chose to murder children in their beds. So I chose to make sure they could never make that choice again. "But you changed their entire species forever." "Yes. I made them better people. I made them the kind of people who care about others instead of hurting them. I made them the kind of people who build instead of destroy." President Thane leaned forward. "Dr. Chen, what you have done has changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Many species are now afraid of humans." "Good," Chen said simply. "Good?" "For too long, the only species that others feared were the ones who liked to hurt people. The Kitharans, the vegan war clans, the mercenary guilds. It is time for people to fear those who protect the innocent." Chen walked back toward his seat, then stopped and turned around. "Let me be very clear about something. The nanobots I created only affect species that attack medical ships or target civilian populations. They only work on those who choose to hurt the helpless. If you are a peaceful species that follows the rules of civilization, you have nothing to fear from humans." "And if we are not?" asked a vegan representative. Chen smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Then you should remember what happened to the Kitharans." The session ended in chaos. Some representatives demanded that Chen be arrested. Others argued that what he had done was justice. Still others suggested that humans should be banned from certain areas of space. But nothing came of their arguments, because deep down, every species in the galaxy knew the truth. The Kitharans had deserved what happened to them. 6 months later, Dr. Chen was back on the Mercy's Light, treating patients as he always had. But everything was different now. No one attacked hospital ships anymore. No one targeted civilian medical facilities. No one even threatened medical personnel, because everyone in the galaxy now knew that humans were not as weak as they looked. They knew that somewhere out there a human doctor with the knowledge to reshape entire species was watching, waiting, ready to heal the universe by fixing anyone who chose to hurt the innocent. The Kitharan Empire still existed, but it was completely transformed. They had become some of the galaxy's most dedicated peacekeepers. Former Kitharan warriors now worked as doctors, teachers, and aid workers. They used their strength to protect others instead of conquering them. High Commander Zeth, now calling himself simply Zeth, had become the head of a new organization called the Galactic Protection Service. Its mission was to prevent attacks on civilian targets throughout the galaxy. "We know what it is like to be consumed by the desire to hurt others," Zeth explained in a broadcast to the galaxy. "We do not want any other species to experience that. Darkness. We will do everything we can to protect the innocent." Dr. Chen watched this broadcast with satisfaction. The children who had died on the Mercy's Light had been avenged in the best possible way. Their deaths had led to a transformation that would protect millions of other children across the galaxy. "Dr. Chen," Arya said, appearing beside him, "do you have any regrets about what we did?" Chen thought about this question. He had changed an entire species without their permission. He had used medical technology as a weapon. He had terrified the galaxy and changed the balance of power forever. "No," he said finally. "I have no regrets." He looked out at the stars, where somewhere former Kitharan warriors were learning to be teachers and healers, where children could sleep safely because monsters had been transformed into protectors. "The universe is a better place now," Chen said, "and anyone who thinks about attacking innocent people knows that humans are watching." "And if they attack anyway?" Chen's smile was calm but cold. "Then they will learn that mercy is not weakness. It is a choice, and that choice can always be taken away." In the depths of space, the Mercy's Light continued its mission of healing. But now it sailed through a galaxy that was much more peaceful than before. A galaxy where the protectors of the innocent were no longer seen as weak. They were seen as the most dangerous force in the universe, and that was exactly how Dr. Marcus Chen wanted it to be.